Don't have the money, you got to borrow it. You know, the banks are the ones that create the capital.
Who controls the interest rates in countries?
Right, so cheaper the money, more it can buy. It's between now and 2026, over $1 trillion of wealth will transfer to essentially millennials. You've never seen the greatest transfer of wealth that is about to occur. Let's just hope that enough people start to build.
This video is presented by Prompton Real Estate Services.
Interest rate cuts, will it save us or destroy us? Well, today we're gonna find out with James, who's the top 1% mortgage broker in all of Canada. So James, first of all, why do interest rates exist? Are they there to help us or to screw us?
Well, I mean, it's cost of capital, right? So, you know, if you don't have the money, you got to borrow it. You know, the banks are the ones that create the capital, and then obviously, you know, they lend it out to consumers, whether that be lines of credit, you know, credit cards, car loans, and obviously, you know, one of the oldest ones is mortgages. So,
right.
You know, they can be used a few ways. It can be used to, you know, get into the market, create wealth through purchasing of a home.
Who controls the interest rates in countries?
Right now, I mean, what we experienced yesterday was the Bank of Canada, right? So the Bank of Canada handles all the monetary policy, you know, in Canada. So printing money, setting overnight lending rates. So what we saw them do yesterday was cut 50 points. So the overnight lending rate right now is 3.75, but that is not the bank rate. Bank have what's called Bank Prime. So a Bank Prime right now, if we're gonna, you know, let's use Scotiabank as an example. With yesterday's cut, they went from 6.45 to 5.95, and then from that point you would get a discount. So let's say you're doing a variable mortgage of prime minus 80, you know, you're sitting at 5.15. That's your rate.
Well, right now with this rate cut, how is it going to affect first-time buyers?
Yeah, I think that the rate cut, if anything, makes money more affordable, right? So cheaper the money, more it can buy. The other thing it will do is it lowers the stress test. So as we talked about, it's whatever the rate you get plus 2, that now goes down. So what it's doing is it's going to open up the pool of buyers potentially to say, as money's getting cheaper, I can now afford. You know, what we are seeing though is we are seeing, you know, generational wealth transfer. And CIBC had estimated that between now and 2026, over $1 trillion of wealth will transfer to essentially millennials. So where I say, yeah, the market isn't picked up yet, this has never happened before in history. So we are seeing, you know, massive gifts from parents. And I think that who's going to be driving the bus is essentially either, you know, the Gen Xers with kids that are in the market, or, you know, the wealthy baby boomers that everybody talks about, that are going to, you know, gift massive amounts of money to get their kids in the market. So I think that factor is going to be quite interesting to watch over the coming year. We have never seen the greatest transfer of wealth that is about to occur, you know, obviously in the next 1 year. I mean, that's a huge number, 1 trillion, but, you know, when you're talking about the baby boomers as a whole, you know, they hold a massive amount of wealth.
With this wealth transfer, you're also predicting there's going to be an injection of wealth into the market?
Yeah, there'll be a massive transfer of wealth, right? And whether that's passed, you know, it's even upon death, right? In inheritance of clear title assets, of real estate, of these, you know, multi-unit properties that have been held, you know, by the boomers will now go to the next generation, and what they do with it is yet to be seen. Do they sell it? Do they bulldoze it? Do they, you know, go shopping? Do they buy Ferraris? We have no idea.
Well, the people who have a lot of wealth transfer probably have less to worry about. It's the people who don't have the wealth transfer. How can they protect themselves in a situation like this? And how do they utilize, is there a certain way to utilize mortgages more, or they need to watch out for something to protect themselves?
A lot of Canadians can't get into housing. Housing has never been more unaffordable than at any time in Canada. And, you know, if you're fortunate enough to be able to buy a house or a position to buy a house, you hold on to that. You know, the ones that can't buy houses yet, let's just hope that enough people start to build, you know, encouragement to build.
As I'm seeing on social media more, there's a trend of, I don't know if it's brainwashing or not, but it shows a lot of how renting is now the better option compared to having a mortgage.
For individuals that have decided, you know, to rent, or renting is a better idea, I mean, I would have to say that's such an individual case. let's be honest. If you don't own anything, you're a lot more free in the sense that you can just pick up and leave. Versus owning something, you have roots somewhere. So I think it's really case by case basis on those.
Right. So we really covered the consumer side, which is where it's an opportunity that people need to start being aware of as we transition into a seller's market. We need to find that right amount of how can I allocate enough capital without being a seller's market.
Exactly.
But now, what is it looking like for a lot of entrepreneurs or business owners?
The interest rate cuts, it really, again, if you hold real estate right now, it's great for your monthly cash flows, right? So if you're an entrepreneur and you're using real estate as a vehicle, your interest costs are coming down. Your principal and interest every month are coming down, which means now you have more cash to deploy into the market. If you can buy a house now, as there is so much supply, that the choice to purchase a home, which, again, in 22, 21, it was the, multiple offers, 100,000 over ask, and all of those issues. I would just say that if you can qualify, I do believe now is a great time to buy, as there is a lot of choice that, say, buyers who have just entered the market or been on the sidelines for a year, that's all that matters to them.
There's always going to be uncertainty.
Yes.
And then for a lot of people who aren't looking that in the future, which is most people, I see a lot of people always asking, I'm trying to find the perfect time or the right deal, but there's never going to be a perfect time.
There's never going to be a perfect time. It's the perfect time is when you qualify.
Yeah.
And if you're ready to purchase and you have the down payment or the assistance through family or however, then buy. Right? It's a house. You need somewhere to live, because if not, you're going to be renting, and then obviously those come with challenges, but so does owning a house. But if you have the capital and you're thinking about buying, I do believe now is a great time to buy. But trying to time the market, don't. Just do it. I think they should do it. What's the alternative is either living in your parents' basement, renting something, or purchasing something. And it really, it's an individual decision, right? Some people decide they want to travel the world, and some people say, hey, I want to put down roots. And if they want to do that, then absolutely buy.
Well, I think that was very informative. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
People can get a hold of me on our website at Devuyst, Devuyst.ca.
Yeah.
They can find us there.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much. All right. Thanks for coming on.